The Invincible show seems like a faithful adaptation, but there are many huge hidden differences between the show and the comics. From character twists to entire storylines rewritten, the show changes a lot more than you'd expect. After the season 3 finale, fans have noticed something important. Damian Dark Blood, the demon detective from season 1 who was investigating by Nolan, murdered the Guardians of the Globe. But in season 1 episode 4, Dark Blood was banished to hell by Cecile after he went against direct orders on the case. Dark Blood was forcing Nolan into a corner regarding the Guardians, which Cecile believed would trigger a reaction that confirmed for Nolan that Cecile was onto him. Fast forward to the present, the reintroduction of Dark Blood is a completely new storyline from the comics. After the fight with Conquest, we cut to a scene with Dark Blood and another demonic-looking creature named Lord, which he summons using a pentagram. The new demon looks to be much older and also shorter than Damian, and asks why he is summoned.
I am summoned.
Dark Blood replies that he has come to tell him good news and says he has the means necessary to restore his status to Infernal Throne. The demon reveals that he has long awaited the feeling of battle. Dark Blood mentions a surface dweller with tremendous power that the planet hasn't felt in a very long time. Dark Blood also says something mysterious. He says that the surface dweller has a blackened heart. This could mean the person he's talking about is pure evil, and this is where my theories come from. First, the mysterious surface dweller possessing strength that hasn't been seen in eons makes me think of Omni-Man. This is backed up by the fact that no one else on the planet has comparable strength to Nolan. The only potential candidate right now is Mark, and that's not even the one Dark Blood should be familiar with. The strength Nolan has is enough to casually level whole cities by just flying at high speeds. We know this because he turned multiple cities into parking lots across the Flaxen's planet within seconds. Additionally, Nolan's speed is calculated to be much faster than the speed of light, but this isn't enough. Dark Blood also mentions a blackened heart. This also points towards Nolan, as a blackened heart is defined as someone perceived as initially evil, fundamentally corrupt, cold, cruel, or lacking in compassion. And this perfectly describes Nolan. Dark Blood knows Nolan murdered the Guardians and then had the nerve to give a speech at the funeral which gives a glimpse of how evil he is. Despite this, it's been years since Omni-Man was on the planet, so that could very well take him out of the picture. Or has it? For all we know, time could move much slower down there. In the show, and comics, Mark gets trapped in different dimensions, and for everyone else, he has gone much longer. So they might be able to get a time skip in the show, plus an entire arc out of Dark Blood, and if that's true, that'll be interesting. But the next difference is so much bigger. In the show, one of the biggest changes is the fight between the Guardians of the Globe and Omni-Man. The Guardians push Omni-Man to his limits in the show, and this lets us see very impressive abilities. Red Rush in particular has a faster fighting speed than Nolan, and we know Viltrumites can fight as fast as they can fly, putting his speed among the best in the entire universe. Immortal and War Woman are also shown to be quite strong during the fight, landing many powerful hits on Nolan. However, in the comics, the fight is completely different. Nolan easily one-shots each of the Guardians, taking no damage whatsoever, while in the show he was on his last legs and even needed to be hospitalized for some time. The comic fight is quite literally the equivalent of Coughing Baby versus Hydrogen Bomb. Like they didn't even get to throw a punch. But this wasn't even the biggest change, and they get much bigger later in the video. One of the weirder changes comes from shrinking Rey. In the comics, Rey was a male, and in the show, Rey is obviously a female. But this isn't the only difference with Rey. In the comics, Rey was killed and eaten by Komodo Dragon. He literally got eaten right then and there, while in the show, after killing Salamander, she does the same thing her male counterpart did in the comics. But she manages to survive and gets closer to Rex. Eventually, the two start a relationship, and she tries to get him to retire being a superhero alongside her, but he just wouldn't listen, as his entire life was based on being a superhero. While that change worked out well, the next one is hated by everyone. In the comics, Amber is a white girl with blonde hair, and Mark and her have a healthy, relatable relationship, which the fans enjoyed seeing, but the show completely ruined her. Amber was race swapped in the show, as the creators thought they needed more diversity. She was also turned into one of the most hated and annoying characters. In the comics, Amber's boyfriend, Gary, ends up punching her. She tells Mark, and he threatens to kill him if he ever does it again. Amber tells Mark that Gary apologized and she's gonna try again with him. But in the show, her boyfriend after Mark is Kyle, the guy who invited her to the party in season 1, and we don't see much of him. While Amber's changes weren't liked, the next change that was about the Invincible War was interesting and also sad. In the comics, Invincible War, there are many huge crossovers with characters from lots of famous different comics, such as Spawn, Capes Inc., Cyberforce, Savage Dragon, etc., etc. Unfortunately, since they couldn't get the rights to many of the heroes in the comics, they had to go to an alternate route, which essentially was replacing the crossover characters with show original characters. Some of the main replacements are the Hunk and Business Baby, who would have easily beaten Conquest. These characters were created in the show to participate in the Invincible War. Additionally, in the show, Powerplex takes down one of the variants. It's unconfirmed which one at the moment, but all of the Mark variants have been showed before they were killed, besides the light blue one which fans believe Powerplex killed. Good job, Jesse. These weren't the only changes in the war though. In the comics, Omnimark is the one who says he murdered his own father, while in the show it's Sinister Mark. On top of that, comic Omnimark was brutally killed by a yo-yo during the war. Yeah, you heard that right. A yo-yo. In the show, he's one of the 8 to survive and be stranded in the Wasteland dimension, where he might get eaten if Sinister Mark pushes them all to cannibalism, like in the comics. But I'm hoping they go a different route with all of the Marks surviving. But I doubt they will, as Mohawk Mark forms a bond with our Mark after he's trapped in the dimension, once again by Angstrom Levy. After a run-in with him, which is very important down the line, where Mohawk Mark rules his universe's Viltrumites on Earth. Speaking of Viltrumites, in the show when Mark and Nolan are attacked on Thraxa, the show has completely erased people from existence. In the comics, there's Lucan, the Viltrumite Steve Harvey, an unnamed male who in the show was replaced by Thula, an older Viltrumite woman with braided hair, and a blade at the end. Then there's an older male-looking Viltrumite with white hair who goes unnamed. The older Viltrumite with white hair is believed to be Vidor's inspiration. Vidor is also the only Viltrumite in the entire series to wear goggles, and he also has 2 bolts screwed in him for unknown reasons. Going back to the God G, in the comics when Cecile got the anonymous call, the new Guardians included Bulletproof, who doesn't get added to the team a little later. Just another small change I thought I'd like to add in this bit. And onto some of what I think are the best changes, we'll be looking at the Conquest fight. Because there are such wild changes, I will break them down in a few separate parts. The first one in the fight is Conquest making a heart out of blood. This was hilarious and also really cool because it shows us he's completely psychotic. But mainly, I think he was showing Mark that he was either going to crush his heart, eat his heart, or he was expressing his love for the battle. We already know how much he loves to be able to really cut loose, as he said he doesn't get to do so very often. He has to stick to various mission parameters, but that little heart scene really moved the community. The second and biggest change in the Conquest fight is how much Adam Eve did. In the comics, she basically did nothing and got shit on, while in the show she showed a little more of what she can do by changing the density in the air, turning her pink constricts into water, which we have never seen do, even in the comics. She might have been able to beat him solo if she didn't have Horrid's stamina, but since she does, he tore through her just like he did in the comics. Despite that, I'm excited to see what else they'll do with her, and it seems like she is really developing as a character, even if she still loves creating pointless glass walls. And the third change, and one of the best, in the Conquest fight doesn't come from a new fighting sequence, but instead it's dialogue from Conquest. In the show, we get the iconic line where he tells Mark how lonely he is, and how the other Viltrumites view him as mentally unstable and scary. He even says they go as far to not even befriend him or talk to him. As he continues on with his speech, Mark is as confused as the viewers because this was in the middle of a battle to the death and completely unexpected. He tells us that he doesn't get a real name. Conquest is a name they gave him for unconfirmed reasons. I believe that it's because, seeing how old and experienced he is, he conquered many planets. In return, he was given the name as a trophy for being so good. He says he's capable of being more than an attack dog, but that is all he is seen as. This bit expands upon his character. At first it's like he kills for the thrill of it, which he definitely does, but now we know it's not just that. It's also the only thing he has left. Conquest's trauma dumping to Mark is meant to reveal that Viltrumites do have a big weakness. They crave love. Even a beast like Conquest, who enjoys slaughter and destruction because that's what he's been conditioned to value, craves connection with others. He is the ultimate embodiment of Viltrumite values and culture, and yet his own people are terrified of him. Why? Because he's a reflection of just how preserved and degrading their civilization's culture actually is. I think confiding to those he's about to kill, like Mark, is the closest Conquest can get to an emotional bond and vulnerability. Remember how Nolan was tripping out and angry he felt empathy and compassion for the Thraxans? Ultimately, his identity is dumbed down to being nothing more than an attack dog, while he wants and knows he can be more than that. If you enjoyed this video, you have to see my video about how strong every Invincible variant is.